There is a generation of Black American women walking around right now who were never supposed to be this together. Nobody handed them a roadmap. Nobody gave them a soft landing. The world they grew up in was loud, complicated, and moving fast. And somehow, they not only kept up, they figured out how to lead. If you were a Black girl in America born between 1965 and 1980, this is about you. Not a tribute, not a feel-good moment, a real specific look at what shaped your psychology and why it made you different from every generation before and after you. Stay with me. The Black Gen X household ran on a frequency most people outside it couldn't decode. Your mother didn't parent with explanations. She parented with precision. A single look communicated what most people need a paragraph to say. Don't. Fix your face. You better not. All delivered without opening her mouth. Psychologists call this high-context communication, where meaning is carried not in words, but in tone, body language, and shared cultural understanding. You were fluent in it by age 6. The instructions were always short. Take the meat out the freezer, don't answer the door, if somebody calls, take a message. But underneath every instruction was a larger, unspoken lesson. You are capable, you are trusted, and I don't have time to repeat myself. That wasn't neglect, that was compressed responsibility, and it rewired how you process the world, quickly, independently, without waiting for permission. You grew up in a Black neighborhood that had its own complete culture, not a subculture, a culture. Music coming from every porch, the smell of someone's Sunday dinner drifting through a screen door on a Wednesday, older women on stoops who knew your name, your mama's name, and exactly what time you were supposed to be inside. That neighborhood was operating as an extended accountability structure. You were never just accountable to one parent. You were accountable to an entire block. Miss Johnson, 3 doors down, wasn't just a neighbor. She was surveillance, safety net, and second mother all at once. The psychological effect? You developed situational awareness at an unusually early age. You read rooms, you read people, you understood that your behavior reflected something larger than yourself, and you internalized that standard before you could articulate why. Growing up as a Black girl in America during this specific era meant navigating a mainstream culture that was actively not built for you, while simultaneously living inside a Black cultural world that was rich, specific, and deeply affirming. You watched Soul Train on Saturday mornings. You saw women who looked like you move with total ownership of their bodies, their style, their presence. Don Cornelius didn't just run a music show, he ran a weekly masterclass in Black elegance. But you also walked into stores where the dolls didn't look like you. You watched television where the leading roles rarely looked like you, and your psychology had to do something very specific with that contradiction: hold both realities at once without collapsing. That skill, holding contradiction without losing yourself, is not small. It is one of the most sophisticated psychological capacities a person can develop, and you built it as a child just by growing up Black in America during that window. Your friendships were built slowly and maintained deliberately. You became close to someone because geography forced proximity, same block, same classroom, same bus stop, and then you did the work. The phone cord stretched to its limit so you could have something resembling a private conversation. 30-minute calls that covered everything: what happened today, what she said, what he did, what you're going to do about it. That kind of friendship built emotional granularity, the ability to describe inner experience with precision. You didn't text a reaction emoji. You had to talk it through, find the right words, explain the nuance, sit with discomforts until it became clear. That's why Black Gen X women tend to be extraordinarily good at reading people, not because of intuition alone, but because they spent their formative years doing the actual cognitive work of understanding human behavior through long, unfiltered conversation. You didn't just listen to music, you studied it. Waiting by the radio with your finger on the record button of a TDK cassette, that was patience, timing, and delayed gratification in a single act. You could not skip ahead, you could not rewind the broadcast. You waited, and when your moment came, you were ready. The artists you grew up on, from Chaka Khan to Janet Jackson to Anita Baker, were doing something beyond entertainment. They were modeling what a Black woman in full possession of herself looked and sounded like: confident, complex, unapologetic. That was psychological programming, positive programming, and it ran parallel to everything the mainstream told you about who you were supposed to be. Here's what all of this produced: a generation of Black American women who are exceptionally resourceful, highly perceptive, emotionally intelligent, and deeply resilient, not because resilience was chosen, but because the environment demanded it and the culture provided the tools. The psychology of the Black Gen X girl isn't a history, it's a blueprint built by specific households, specific neighborhoods, specific music, specific friendships, and a specific moment in American history that will never come again. You didn't just survive it, you were built by it, and the evidence is everywhere, in how you move, how you decide, how you lead, and how you carry everything without ever making it look like carrying. That's not an accident. That was always the plan. They just never told you.